Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Afternoon, December 11th, 1978, Gacy visited the Nissan pharmacy in Des Plaines to discuss a potential remodeling deal with the store owner, Phil Torf. While he was within earshot of 15-year-old part-time employee Robert Piest, Gacy mentioned his firm often hired teenage boys at a starting wage of $5 per hour, which is almost double the pay Piest earned at the pharmacy. Oh, look at him setting the trap.
You ain't kidding. Shortly after Gacy left, Piest's mother arrived at the store to drive her son home so the family could celebrate her birthday together. Oh, happy birthday, Mom. Thanks, son. Piest asked his mother to wait, adding that some contractor wants to talk to me about a job, making double what I'm making now. Well, go do it, son. Well, don't you know? Do they talk like Wisconsinians? No. He left the store about 9 p.m., promising to return shortly. Piest was murdered shortly after 10 p.m.
Didn't even waste no time.
Damn, murdered shortly after 10 p.m. at Gacy's home. Gacy later stated that at his house, he gave Piest a soft drink before asking whether there was anything he wouldn't do for the right price, to which Piest replied that he did not mind working hard.
In response, Gacy stated good money could be earned by hustling, although Piest was dismissive. Gacy then duped Piest into donning the handcuffs.
Oh, jeez.
Gacy's subsequent statements regarding the events varied, although in one of his initial statements he claimed Piest failed to resist as he removed the boy's trousers.
Wow.
He also stated that as he placed the rope around Piest's neck, the boy was crying, scared.
Oh, I bet.
Gacy admitted to having received a phone call from a business acquaintance as Piest lay dying.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I've got to take this.
Wow. When Piest failed to return home, his family filed a missing person report with the Des Plaines police. Torf named Gacy as a contractor Piest had most likely left the store with. Lieutenant Joseph Kozenzak, whose son attended Maine West High School like Piest, chose to investigate Gacy further.
There we go.
Finally, we get somebody. A check of Gacy's criminal background revealed that he had an outstanding battery charge in Chicago and had been imprisoned in Iowa for the sodomy of a 15-year-old boy.
About fucking time somebody looks into that.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, look at this.
Oh, Kozenzak? Yeah. Kozenzak and two Des Plaines officers, the police officers, visited Gacy at his home following the following evening. Gacy indicated that he had asked one of the youths working at the pharmacy, whom he believed to be Piest, whether there were any remodeling materials behind the store. He was adamant, however, that he had not offered Piest a job and had only returned to the pharmacy shortly after 8 p.m. as he had left his appointment book. Gacy promised to come to the station later that evening to make a statement, indicating he was unable to do so at the moment as his uncle had just died.
Oh, wow.
When questioned as how soon he could come to the police station, he responded, "You guys are very rude. Don't you have any respect for the dead?"
This guy. About 3:20 a.m.
What the fuck? He probably just killed somebody, too.
Right. 3 o'clock in the morning, huh? 3:20 a.m. Gacy arrived at the Popo station, covered in mud, claiming he had been involved in a car accident. This guy's losing his mind. On return to the police station later that day, Gacy denied any involvement in Piest's disappearance and repeated that he had not offered him a job. Gacy reiterated that he had returned to the pharmacy in response to a phone call from Torf informing him he had left an appointment book at the store. Detectives had already spoken with Torf, who denied even calling Gacy.
Oh, jeez.
At the request of detectives, Gacy prepared a written statement detailing his movements on December 11th.
Well, suspecting Gacy might be holding Piest at his home, Des Plaines police obtained a search warrant December 13th. This search revealed several suspicious items, including several police badges, a starter pistol, a syringe and hypodermic needle, handcuffs, books on homosexuality and pederasty.
You just made the list!
Sexual activity involving a man and a boy or youth. Pederasty. Pornographic films, capsules of amyl nitrate, a dildo, a 2x4 with 2 holes drilled into each end, bottles of Valium and atropine, several driver's licenses, a blue hooded parka, and underwear too small to fit Gacy. They also found a class ring engraved with the initials JAS.
Oh, shit.
And a Nissan pharmacy photo receipt in a trash can alongside a 36-inch section of nylon rope.
Oh, son of a bitch. I mean, that's enough, right?
You would hope.
Jeez. The Des Plaines police confiscated Gacy's Oldsmobile and other PDM work vehicles. Surveillance teams consisting of officers Mike Albright and David Hackmeister and Ronald Robinson and Robert Schultz.
All right.
They monitored Gacy as the investigation continues. So they let this guy out. I guess they have to, right? Following day, investigators received a phone call from Michael Rossi, who informed investigators of Gregory Godzik's disappearance and the fact that another PDM employee, Charles Hatula, had been found drowned in an Illinois river earlier this year.
Oh, shit. December 15th, the plane investigators obtained further details of Gacy's battery charge, learning Jeffrey Rignall had reported that Gacy had lured him into his car, then chloroformed, raped, and tortured him before dumping him in Lincoln Park. In an interview with Gacy's former wife the same day, they learned of the disappearance of John Bukovich.
Oh, shit.
The same day, the class ring was traced to John Allen Cizik.
Oh, man.
An interview with Cizik's mother revealed that several items from her son's apartment were also missing, including a Motorola television.
Oh, shit. They wanted that fucking TV.
Motorola, huh? Yeah. Television game back then.
Fantastic. 16th of December, Gacy, becoming affable with surveillance detectives, regularly invited them to join him for meals in restaurants and occasionally for drinks in bars or at his home. He repeatedly denied involvement with Piest's disappearance and accused the officers of harassing him because of his political connections or his recreational drug use. Knowing these officers were unlikely to arrest him on anything trivial, he taunted them by flouting traffic laws and succeeded in losing his pursuers more than once. This dude's just flying through town, just hitting corners, doing 50.
That afternoon, Cram consented to a police interview in which he revealed that because of his poor timekeeping, Gacy had once given him a watch, explaining he got it from a dead person. Investigators conducted a formal interview of Rossi December 17th. He informed them Gacy had sold him Cizik's vehicle, explaining that he had bought the car from Cizik because he needed money to move to Cali.
Oh,
everything's unraveling for you, Johnny.
Sure in hell is. Should have been a long time ago. Holy fuck. These fucking cops are like the Union generals in the early part of the war. Nah, we're not going to pursue.
And now the Confederates now.
Right. A further examination of Gacy's Oldsmobile, it revealed a small cluster of fibers in the trunk, suspected to be human hair. That evening, 3 trained search dogs were used to determine whether Piest had been present in any of Gacy's vehicles. One laid on the passenger seat of Gacy's Oldsmobile, and what the dog's handler informed investigators was a death reaction, indicating Piest's body had been present.
All right. That evening, Gacy invited detectives Albrecht and Hackmeister to a restaurant for a meal. Did they go? Early on December 18th, he invited them into another restaurant where, over breakfast, he discussed his business. I guess they have to. I mean,
right.
Trying to get him to do something. His marriages and his clowning, they all discussed. During this conversation, Gacy remarked, "You know, clowns can get away with murder." Why would you find this guy's just trolling him?
Holy fuck. By December 18th, 1978, Gacy beginning to display signs of strain from his constant
He's like, I can't even kill no more.
Right. He was unshaven, looked tired and anxious, and was drinking heavily. Yeah, because he wanted to, and he couldn't do it. That afternoon, he drove to his lawyer's office to prepare a $750,000 civil suit against the Plain police, demanding that they cease their surveillance. He goes, I need to kill, damn it.
Right.
The same day, Nissan Pharmacy photo receipt found in Gacy's kitchen was traced to 17-year-old Kimberly Byers, a colleague of Piest at Nissan Pharmacy. Oh, Byers stated that she had borrowed Piest's parka. Had borrowed Piest's parka earlier in the evening and had placed a receipt in the pocket just before she returned the coat to Piest as he left the store.
Oh, shit.
Damn you, Scuba Steve.
Well, that same evening, Rossi was interviewed a second time. This time, he was more cooperative. He informed detectives that in the summer of 77, at Gacy's behest, he had spread 10 bags of lime in the crawl space of Gacy's house.
Wow.
December 19th, investigators began compiling evidence for a second search warrant for the Gacy's house. The same day, Gacy's lawyers filed the civil suit against the Plain police. The hearing for the suit was scheduled December 22nd, but something tells me it's not going to make it that far.
Yeah. Well, that very afternoon, Gacy said, come on, surveillance detectives, come on inside. Let's see what you can find. As Robinson distracted Gacy with conversation, Schultz walked into Gacy's bedroom in an unsuccessful attempt to write down the serial number of the Motorola television they suspected belonged to Cizik.
That's dirty.
Well,
They could have jeopardized the whole case by doing that.
While flushing Gacy's toilet, officer noticed a smell he suspected could be of rotting corpse emanating from a heating duct.
Oh, shit.
The officers who had searched Gacy's house previously had failed to notice this, as the house had been cold. Now it's getting warmer. Oh.
Investigators interviewed both Cram and Rossi on December 20th. When questioned as to where he believed Gacy had concealed Piest's body, Rossi replied Gacy may have placed the body in the crawl space.
Oh, shit.
Rossi agreed to submit to a polygraph test. He denied any involvement in Piest's disappearance or any knowledge of his whereabouts. He soon refused to continue the questioning, and Rossi's erratic and inconsistent responses, while attached to the polygraph, rendered Kazanzak unable to render a definite opinion as to his truthfulness.
Right, you really can't do anything about that. Son of a bitch. Well, Rossi did, however, further discuss the trench digging he did in the crawl space and remarked on Gacy's insistence that he did not deviate from where he was instructed to dig. He's like, you don't dig anywhere but this little line here, bud. Cram, he informed investigators of Gacy's attempts to rape him in 1976. He stated that after he and Gacy had returned to his home after the December 13th search, Gacy had turned pale after seeing a clod of mud on his carpet and had immediately entered the crawl space to look for evidence of digging. Oh, shit.
When asked whether he had been to the crawl space, Cram replied he had once been asked by Gacy to spread lime down there and also had dug trenches, which Gacy explained were for drainage pipes. Cram stated these trenches were 2 feet wide, 6 feet long, and 2 feet deep, roughly the size of a grave would be. 2 feet deep? That's pretty shallow.
Right. Evening of December 20th, 1978, Gacy drove to his lawyer's office in Park Ridge to attend a scheduled meeting, ostensibly to discuss the progress of his civil suit. He appeared anxious and disheveled and immediately asked for an alcoholic drink. Sam Amaranth fetched a bottle of Seagram's whiskey, and Gacy immediately drank 2 cupfuls. Damn. Amaranth, by this stage of dubious of Gacy's claims of innocence, he then asked what he had to discuss with him, placing a copy of the Daily Herald on his desk and stating, "You said you had something new to tell me, something important."
Gacy picked up the newspaper, pointed to the front page article covering the disappearance of Piest, and said, "This boy is dead. He's dead. He's in a river."
Oh.
Gacy then proceeded to give a rambling confession that ran into the early hours of the following morning. He began by stating he had been the judge, jury, and executioner of many, many people, and that he now wanted to be the same for himself.
Oh.
He stated he had murdered at least 30 victims, most of whom had buried in his crawl space, and plus disposed of 5 other bodies into the Plain River.
Damn.
Dude couldn't take it anymore.
Wow. Gacy dismissed his victims as male prostitutes, hustlers, and liars, adding he sometimes awoke to find dead, strangled kids with their handcuffed behind their backs. Oh, shit. He had buried their bodies in his crawl space as he believed they were his property. As a result of alcohol he had consumed, Gacy fell asleep midway through his confession. Amaranth immediately arranged a psychiatric appointment for Gacy that morning. Ooh.
On awakening several hours later, Gacy shook his head when informed by Amaranth he had confessed to killing approximately 30 people, saying, "Well, I can't think about this right now. I've got things to do." Ignoring his lawyer's advice regarding his scheduled appointment, Gacy left to attend to his business.
Oh, shit.
Gacy later recollected his memories of his final day of freedom as being hazy, adding he knew his arrest was inevitable and that he intended to visit his friends and say his farewell.
I mean,
is the lawyer obligated to say?
If it's a crime, yes.
No.
Or if he's going to commit another crime.
A lawyer's obligation for the crime is under city regulations. The general lawyer is expected to keep client confidence, but there are exceptions. To prevent or serious or to prevent.
Right. That ain't nothing. All he can do is tell the police that it's possible that this guy might do something. That's why he wanted a psychiatric report. Right?
I don't think you can.
No, sure the fuck can't.
But he is kind of required to because this dude's a fucking serial killer, so he's probably about to hurt somebody else. So
after leaving his lawyer's office, Gacy drove to a gas station. He handed a small bag of cannabis to the attendant, who immediately handed the bag to the surveillance officers, adding that Gacy had told him, "The end is coming for me. These guys are going to kill me." Gacy then drove to the home of a fellow contractor and friend, Ronald Rode. Gacy hugged Rode before bursting into tears, saying, "I've been a bad boy. I killed 30 people, give or take a few."
Just admitted to everybody now.
Holy shit.
Well, Gacy left Rode and drove to Cram's house to meet with Cram and Rossi. Their surveillance officers noted he was holding a rosary to his chin, praying while he drove along the expressway. After talking with Cram and Rossi, Gacy had Cram drive him to a scheduled legal meeting. Cram informed the surveillance officers that Gacy had told him and Rossi that he had confessed to over 30 murders with his lawyers the previous evening.
Oh, fuck.
Gacy then had Cram drive him to Mary Hill Cemetery where his father was buried.
All along, these cops are watching this. All along.
Wow.
As Gacy drove to various locations that morning, the Popo outlined a formal draft of their second search warrant, specifically to search for Piest's body in the crawl space. On hearing from the surveillance detectives that, in light of his erratic behavior, Gacy might be about to commit suicide, the Popo decided to arrest him on a charge of possession and distribution of cannabis in order to hold him in custody. As a formal request for a second search warrant was presented. About 4:30 p.m., 21st of December, the eve of the hearing of Gacy's civil suit, a second search warrant was granted. After the Popo informed Gacy of their intentions to search his crawl space for the body of Piest, Gacy denied the teenager was buried there. But he said, guess what, guys? I killed in self-defense a young man whose body was buried under his garage.
Oh, shit.
Jeez.
Armed with the signed search warrant, police and evidence technicians drove to Gacy's home. They found Gacy had unplugged his sump pump, flooding the crawl space with water. They replaced the plug and waited for the water to drain. Evidence technician Daniel Genty then entered the 28 by 38 foot crawl space, crawled to the southwest area, and began digging. Within minutes, he uncovered putrefied flesh and a human arm bone.
Jeez. Genty, he shouted to the investigators that he could charge Gacy with murder, adding, "I think this place is full of kids." A police photographer uncovered a patella in the northeast corner. The two began digging in the southeast corner, uncovering 2 lower leg bones. The victims were too decomposed to be pieced.
As the body in the northeast corner was unearthed, a crime scene technician discovered the skull of a second victim alongside this body. Later excavations of the feet of the second victim revealed a further skull beneath that body. Because of this, technicians returned to the trench where the first body was unearthed, discovering the rib cage of a fourth victim, confirming the scale of the murders. They said, "We're going to be here for a while, boys."
Damn right you are. Son of a bitch. After being informed that the police had found human remains in his crawl space and that he would now face murder charges, Gacy told officers he wanted to clear the air.
You got no choice now.
Early morning hours, December 22nd, and his presence of his lawyers.
He's like, "So can this civil case still go on?" Or
Right. Gacy provided a formal statement in which he confessed to murdering approximately 30 young males, all of whom he claimed had entered his house willingly.
Kind of did, except for the one at gunpoint, I would assume.